Talk about the holidays. Of course, it's a time for celebration and family bonding, but it can also be stressful for everybody. And in particular, those who are recovering from addiction, living a sober lifestyle, and then dealing with the pressure of the holidays. About 20 million Americans find themselves in that situation, suffering from a substance abuse disorder. There's a lot of information out there. It's hard to know where to turn. So this morning, we're joined by Kyle Rise, who is the co-founder of rehab.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It is the first thing I want to ask you about is if you have somebody in your life who is dealing with recovery, whether it's very new or decades ago.
Sure.
How can you be sensitive and cognizant of that and make sure that you're supporting them through what can be difficult times?
Absolutely. You said the word support. That's a really important part, particularly around the holidays where there might be more stress than usual, whether it's just, family dynamics. Holiday parties are a classic example where you might have to kind of step outside your comfort zone. There might be more temptation than normal.
Yes.
And, having those support systems, both, on both ends, being able to reach out and have that sense of community so that, people know that they're not alone, because the worst thing to do is to try to fight the addiction by yourself or to isolate. And so doing whatever you can to be proactive about, having that sense of community is going to go a long way, particularly this time of year.
So nobody expects to find themselves in need of a recovery facility or rehabilitation, but of course millions of people do.
Right.
So what's the first step?
Well, that's exactly why we started rehab.com, is that a lot of people don't know where to go when they find themselves or a loved one struggling with addiction. And we basically created this resource where you can figure out what your options are so that you can make an informed decision. It's basically like the Expedia for the treatment industry, where based on your criteria, do you have private insurance? Do you have Medicare, Medicaid? Do you have no insurance? Are you looking to go in-state, out-of-state, outpatient, inpatient? There's all sorts of options that are available. And when you go to rehab.com, you can browse through and you can make an informed decision about what is going to be the best one for you. Make the right first step to get into the right treatment option.
Yeah, because I imagine many of us would be going into this blind. All of a sudden, you see a relative and you know that they need some assistance.
Exactly.
And what do? Or it comes out of the blue because people are secretive about this.
Exactly. And nobody plans on ever having to go to rehab. And so that's why it's important to be able to go to a place,
one place,
get the information that you need. And, we're not owned by a treatment center. We're unbiased. We're, the founders of our company are in recovery. So our heart's in the right place, and we really want this to be a resource so that people can, save their own lives.
Up on the screen, we've got a couple of the things we mentioned at the top about, being aware that this can be a difficult time. And I think one of the most important things would be recognizing addiction is a disease and making sure that you give that acknowledgement, right? I mean, there shouldn't be shame involved in this. There should be openness and support. And
we've come a long way as a country. We've now got over 25 million people in our country that are in long-term recovery, meaning they've been sober for longer than a year, and they're doing all walks of life. So, just the fact that we're on TV and we're talking about it, it's not something that people need to hide from. If you're struggling with it, you can put your hand up, you can ask for help, and you can, tap into resources to get back on the right track.
Find them all there at one side, rehab.com.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays to you.
As well.